Hi, hello, welcome back to Bioenergetics. My name's Devraj. You may recall about 6-8 months ago I did a series of YouTube videos on Reichian character structure, or Reichian characterology as it's sometimes called, and we looked through the 5 different classic character types. And since then, that video, those videos were quite popular, and since then a lot of people have been messaging me saying, well, I'm running this pattern, or I've got this character structure, what exercise can I do, to correct it? Understandable. And so I wanted to make a series of follow-up videos, basically, looking at treatment direction. And I'm calling them Reichian treatment notes, and we're going to go through, one a week is the plan, going through each of these 5 character types, or survival patterns as I often call them these days. And before we get to that, just to mention that it is not quite as simple as, okay, I've got this pattern, I do this exercise. It doesn't really work out just like that, but nevertheless you can have a general direction and an understanding of what's going on and how you can best move forwards with it, so you know the kind of therapies or treatments to avoid maybe, and the kind that can really support you. What I'd also like to mention at this point is that, my understanding of Reichian characterology has been expanded considerably since that time, from a couple of things. One, reading, got a copy of it here somewhere, this book by Kessler, The 5 Personality Patterns. You may have heard me mention it before. But he does a great job of depathologizing the character types and also reframing them more as survival strategies, options that we had in our infant development to deal with the kind of situations that we were facing as little kids. And the second thing is that creating a lot of content for my 52-week course, we go through in the second half of that course all of the Reichian character types, all of the survival strategies. And so I've done a lot more research, reading, and working with my own body and working with clients around this. So this will contain a little bit of updated information, and also it will be focused more on the kind of treatments and the kind of treatment direction. We're going to go through these 5 types. We're going to go through them in chronological order because they tend to come on, or they tend to be accessible to us at different stages of our infancy or early childhood. And the first one, which we will look at, is the one that can come on earliest, which is generally used to be called the Schizoid, then later called the Dreamer character type, or often known as the leaving pattern, certainly within Stephen Kessler's system. And, this may come on actually even inside the womb. And it comes on whenever we do not really feel safe in our own body or in our own environment, which may be the womb environment. And the leaving pattern, or the Schizoid dreamer character, is someone who, when they don't feel safe at a bodily level, they go up into their head, up into their mind, and they just kind of hang out here and live up here in a world of thinking. And that may extend to even creating whole kind of philosophical or analytical or spiritual realms that you can dwell in, either through further avoidance of what's happening on a feeling level, or because, they just want to explore that stuff. But the basic thing with the leaving pattern, if you know that you've got the leaving pattern, is that you need to come back and re-inhabit the body. This is the desire, and hopefully that's also your desire at a kind of normal ego level as well, when you see yourself doing it. All of these patterns, and the leaving pattern in particular, I have done and still do at times. And so, I'm not just some therapist preaching out and telling you I'm perfect, because I'm not. I still have the leaving pattern run quite strongly, and so feeling my body is a very important practice for me. So this is the core issue, feeling safe inside the body. And with regard to that, when it comes to treatment, one of the things you need to be aware of is that you're not creating too powerful or too emotionally evocative, or creating big powerful sensations in the body, because when you do that, this person or this character type will basically come up into the mind. So you don't want to create a lot of charge in the body, for example. You don't necessarily want to do a big breathwork session or go and take psychoactive substances or this kind of thing. They may well lead you to simply getting more and more stuck up here. And it's not that these strategies are really going to cause serious damage, in my opinion, but they're not what I would use as a first choice. If you're running this leaving pattern and you tend to spend a lot of time in your mind, You need a slow way and a gentle way that is non-threatening to start to come back into your body bit by bit by bit. It's going to be a journey, it's going to be a journey. You want to start to get the throat more open. This is, understand that, simply just looking at your body, of course, the head, if we're up in the head, then the main area that we need to pass beyond to come back in the body is the throat and the neck. These are the areas that we need to gently open. So you can look for some gentle neck stretches. You can look for opening the throat and different exercises using your voice. Don't do anything too challenging, just gently working like that. What also might be useful is something like some gentle kind of a practice called somatic breathing or chakra breathing, where you literally just breathe into different areas of the body. This can be something you can look out for on my YouTube channel and in other places, and where you're simply breathing and feeling into different areas of the body. You're not imagining or visualizing stuff, it's just a sensory somatic journey. Another thing that's very, very useful for people who are running this personality type to help them feel much more safe in the body is grounding. And grounding, essentially in bioenergetics or in Reichian therapy, basically means opening up the channel from your belly down through your hips and pelvis, down through your legs to the soles of your feet. There's a big channel there which is normally open in most primates, but humans tend to have it a bit locked up. So you want to work on your grounding. This is pretty useful for pretty much any character type, but for the levers, it's really, really essential. Once you have more grounding going, then basically you will naturally feel much more present in your body, and you'll catch yourself when you're coming out into this ideational world, and you'll be able to think like, oh, whoa, I'm leaving my body now. I need to come back. Relating to that, feeling your belly is very useful. So there's some great belly exercises on my YouTube channel or in the 52-week journey, and really getting centered in the belly is absolutely a great, great cure for being too much in the mind and too much in this leaving pattern. Finally, things you can look at whilst it's not so good to do very powerful trauma treatments, you can still use things like eye exercises, eye movement exercises, which are quite a more gentle way of starting to release trauma, because the eyes are closely related and eye movement is closely related to accessing trauma inside the brain and allowing it to dissipate. Okay, so that's my little talk about the leaving pattern and treatment notes on that, the schizoid or dreamer character. I hope you found it useful. Feel free to check out my website for my book on bioenergetics, which you might find really useful. And likewise, if you really want to go for it with bioenergetics and you really want to invest like a year or two with weekly lessons, clearing stuff out and really being guided all along the way, then do check out my 52-week online course called Bioenergetics: The Journey. It's reasonably priced. It's not nothing because you have to commit, but it's very powerful and it will create a lot of change over time. Okay. Feel free to tune in next week when we'll be looking at the oral or merging pattern, the oral character or merging pattern. Speak to you again soon.